to the 42nd Meet the Expert session. And it's a little bit special today because I've got Christina Robinson with me. And it was actually a meeting with her in October 2020 that Meet the Expert was born. So she was our first guest. So she was number one. And now she's number 42 as well. Hello, Christina. How are you today?
I am good. I'm good. I can't believe that it was so long ago that this started. It's crazy.
42 months, yeah, 3.5 years worth. And the topics and the speakers have been fabulous. So if you're here on Crowdcast, click on the green button. If you haven't registered for our course, Meet the Expert, you can have access to all 42 of those sessions and all the resources and the links and everything that comes out of the presentations. This is our monthly half hour, 45 minutes of free training for you. So there's some fantastic resources in there. If you're over on LinkedIn, I'll keep an eye on you. I will put the link here for Crowdcast as well, because it's easier if you come here and ask the questions. You'll also then get notified every time we have a Meet the Expert every month. So happy to do that. We've got John Brooks next month, our pricing strategist in the gym. Christina, obviously of Green Umbrella, is our social media and branding expert in the gym as well. So happy to have you back. Definitely. There's only been 2 people that have ever done 2, but glad that one of them's you.
Bless you. Bless you. Well, it's definitely good to be back. Definitely good.
Wonderful. So I'm going to let Christina do her thing. If you've got questions, put them in the chat, please. And we'll have time, 5-10 minutes at the end to answer any of those. So away you go. I'm going to shoot off into the wing.
Amazing. Cool. Okay. So what we are talking about today is the fact that everything is content. Now, why am I talking to you about this? I work with so many business owners, many of which are recruiters, just like you, looking to essentially monetize their social media activity, get leads, turn those leads into paying clients, and get some fees in the bank. But it all comes down to the content you share. And the biggest problem that people have is, I don't know what to post. Now, I have tons of resources that will help you come up with ideas. I've got resources like 75 ideas of things to post on social media. But for recruiters, the content that works the best is actually the easiest for you to find. And this session is all about the easy ways for you to find those content ideas. I don't want you to be a slave to the whole content creation thing. I just want to open your minds up to the content opportunities that are right in front of you. Okay, so let's dive in. So first of all, like I said, we want to use social media to essentially make money. If I boil everything I know down to 3 steps, it starts here. We need to have a really clear message and really strong foundations, okay? We need that to be in place. What I mean by that is your LinkedIn profile is optimized correctly, your Instagram profile is set up correctly, all of that kind of stuff, and that you are crystal clear on the message that you're sending people. Once you've got that, it's a case of committing to strategies that work for you and your audience, and then essentially implementing those strategies, measuring them, tweaking them, and repeating them so that you can then identify leads and move them into a sales environment. And there's a few, those 3 steps. Obviously, I work with people outsource their marketing to us. I mentor a lot of people through this that are trying to do it themselves. Within these 3 steps, there are lots of little other things that also need to be mastered, absolutely. But I could tell you now, just these 3 things, people fall down because they're not clear on their message. They fall down because they invest in building a strategy that they never implement. They fall down because sometimes their message is right, they've got the strategy, they're implementing it, but they never actually stop to identify the leads and deal with those. But if we can get that all right, then your presence can turn into a money-making machine. Now, I'm aware there's quite a few people on. Some of you will know me really well and have seen my sessions before. Some of you might not know the story. Everything I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing because over the last 11 years, I've worked in this space and I know it inside out. I can talk to you, find out about your business, and be able to identify what's going to work for you as an individual. Okay. 2013, I had dropped out of university. I'd hated it. I was there as a mature student, absolutely hated it. The only bit I enjoyed was this module that I did around marketing an event using social media. And we'd done this sort of practical thing. Up until that point, I thought social media was a waste of time. I didn't understand why people would hang out and spend so much time and put their lives on Facebook. I was one of those people. But this one module just completely opened my eyes up to the power of social media. So I thought, well, there's probably a business in this. Why don't I just sort of set myself up, and maybe I can find some businesses that want me to do their social media for them to help promote their businesses. Did a bit of research and found Green Umbrella Marketing, which was literally 5 minutes from my front door. A week later, I found myself starting work as a freelancer there, just a couple of hours a day. 6 months later, I was full-time on payroll and second in command of the business. And since then, I have used social media strategies, the stuff that I teach, the stuff I'm going to share with you today. And by implementing that, I am now a podcaster, I'm a public speaker, I've won a whole bunch of awards as the business, as myself as an entrepreneur. I get invited to speak on stages with people like Stephen Bartlett, Karen Brady, Marie Forleo, Rob Moore, Daniel Priestley, all these kind of leading entrepreneurs, leading influencers in the world of entrepreneurship in the UK. I have been, identified, let's say, as one of the top recruitment marketing influencers in the UK. And like I said, the publications I've been in, I've co-authored a book, like a ton of stuff. And the reality is, I'm a cattle farmer's daughter, a university dropout, but I've been able to use social media to position myself, reflect and evidence the knowledge that I have, the way in which I can help people and what I stand for. And social media has brought me to where I am today. Like I said, I started in the business at 2013 as a freelancer, turned employee, and in 2019 we went through management buyout and I became the owner of the business. And it's all because of what social media did for me. So how does it all work? Well, essentially, we want to take an unknown person that fits our avatar through a marketing funnel. We want to get them aware of us, get them interested in what we do, create a decision in them, a desire for them to want to work with us, and then persuade them to take action. Now, for you guys, that might be sending you a CV, it might be picking up the phone to you, jumping on a call with you, meeting you for that very first time. But essentially, that's what we want to happen. And again, from a content perspective, people just start throwing content out there and they don't think about where that content is taking people on their journey from not knowing us at all to trusting us to working with us. And they're not always using the right tools to do this as well. So social media is very much an awareness tool, okay? All your social media content should be about creating awareness about what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, and why you do it. This content should be engaging people, inspiring them, and educating them. Sometimes we need to educate them in the problem that they don't yet know they have. Sometimes they know what they want. We have to educate them on what it is they need. We keep developing that social media content to get them interested in our offering. We show them what we do. We offer them value. And this is where we should be sharing some lead magnets on social media. So your social media posts really are about bringing people essentially halfway through that funnel. Those lead magnets are a resource. So let's say something like a salary guide, okay? I would love to think that because you guys are on here, you're looking for ways to do things in a more innovative way. So I'd like to think you would be producing something that's a bit more creative than just another salary guide, okay? But this is a resource, it's high value, and for people to access it, they need to give you some information, an email address, a phone number, and of course their name. Once you've got that data, you can continue to market them further, build that desire, that persuasion, get them making that decision that the next time they need to hire or the next time they're looking for work, you're the person they're going to come to. And in doing that, we then sort of take those social media people, now we've got them on our list, and we start to communicate to them directly through email marketing strategies, potentially through your DMs as well. And communication at this point is all about nurturing them so that we get to that point where we basically get them to take action. We tell them what to do next. What's the next logical step to take? We tell them, we ask them, we essentially try and get some sort of commitment from them. So if we're clear on that, then we can start to map our content into these elements of the funnel. Okay. Just for those of you that are on, just in the chat, just give me a one in the chat if you are with me, you're following, that all makes sense. Perfect. Cool. Got some ones coming through. Lovely. Okay. So where can you get the best content ideas? Like I said, I'm not going to send you to 20 different websites. I'm not going to point you to resource with a bunch of things. I think I've got 10 ideas on here for you. And these ideas, literally, I have taken from, I've looked at the work I've done with clients over the last 3-4 weeks, recruitment clients specifically, the posts that have performed the best. Where did those content ideas come from? Okay, where did those inspirations come from? And these are the 10 things I'm going to share with you. Okay, number one, look at your diary for this week. One of our clients, they're an exec search recruiter, they work globally. And I'm like, what's happening this week? Like, what are you doing? What's going on? They're like, oh, I'm really, really busy. I've got a project on. I'm doing some talent mapping for a client. Brilliant. That's all I needed to know. We then produced a post that was all about the fact that they were busy because they were working on talent mapping projects, talked about what talent mapping was, why it was important to this client specifically. And of course, there was a bit of creative license there because all I knew was that they were busy talent mapping, but I knew enough about their business, as you do about yours, to write a really strong LinkedIn post. Just off the back of that post, they got another lead for a brand new client that actually looks like a massive retained opportunity for them. Okay, so look at your diary this week. What is happening? Are you going out to events? Are you jumping on to do a bit of training? You could screenshot this right now and talk about the fact that in order to stay ahead of the market, you're constantly looking at development, training for your team so that you're using the best possible strategies to implement the service for your clients. That in itself positions you as being ahead of your competitors. Okay, so look at your diary for the week. Maybe you're going to be going to visit a client in, I don't know, Birmingham. You don't want to talk about who the client is, but you know you're in Birmingham. Whilst you're there, maybe there's going to be a photo of you around the NEC or a photo of you at the Bull Ring. You know, these are places when people see it in their feed, they want to see you. The pictures of you are what work the best. That picture of you in front of that iconic building or landmark, whatever it might be, that in itself is fantastic content and it's really easy for you to capture. Okay, next, in your LinkedIn feed, have a look through. What are your prospects posting about? What are those candidates that you're connected with posting about? Are there some topics that keep coming up and you're like, actually, do you know what? Everyone's really talking about equity at the minute. Okay, or everyone's talking about, like, they're all going to this specific event. You can write a post talking about, like, there's so many fantastic industry events, blah, blah, blah. This one and this one are my favorites. That in itself, like, check out what your prospects are posting and start to use those topics. In the conversations that you're having, okay, this is a really important one. Every day you are speaking to candidates, you're speaking to clients, and I know this is something I've talked about in the gym before, but just listen. That bit at the beginning of the conversation, that rapport building piece, they're probably dropping you some content bombs, some fantastic things that you can just note down and store and do a video about. You know, I'm talking to lots of clients in the IT space right now, and there seems to be a real trend in whatever it is. Talk about what that means from a recruitment perspective. Talk about what that might mean from an industry, from a sector perspective. Many of you are likely specializing in a specific sector. Show that you understand the sector. And like I said, listening out for these types of conversations. It might be that someone talks to you about their personal stuff. You can talk about the fact that you have such a fantastic relationship with your clients that they talk to you about all areas of life, not just about recruitment. You can talk about, oh, you know, I was talking to a client in the healthcare space, and they were talking to me about the fantastic things they're doing to take their business to the next level. And it really got me thinking about the opportunities that are out there for everyone. um, you know and when you do this, look for a bridge, look for a link back to recruitment. Talking to a business, they're talking about adding additional revenue streams. Fantastic, they're so driven, I'm sure it's going to work. A big part of this for them is going to be planning the talent they're going to need going forward as they experience this exponential growth. And I'm so pleased that I've got the relationship with them that I'm able to support them in that. Okay, so you talk about something completely different and link it back into recruitment. Next, stop keeping your opinions to yourself. Something breaks in the news. Okay, now I don't want you to start putting your political views out there necessarily, but maybe there is something out there. IR35, for example, I think people expected there to be like a whole hoo-ha around IR35 again, with over the last couple of months between budgets and all the legal stuff that goes on. And yet it was kind of a bit of something and nothing. Well, if you've got an opinion on that, share it. On LinkedIn every day, when you go to the desktop, on the right-hand side, there is a little box there, and it shows us all, these are the trending news stories right now. It's not specific to you. It's not specific to industry or sector. It's everyone gets the same list. Maybe there's something in there that's actually relevant to you, or even more importantly, relevant to your client base. You could use that. You can go into it, pick out a couple of links that have been shared in there. Maybe it's something linking to the FT, the Guardian, or whatever. But you can take that link and give your 2 pence on it. Maybe that trending topic actually, there's a question there you want to ask your audience. You can then use a poll to do that. But stop keeping your opinions to yourself. People want to know what you think. They want to understand you because they're going to build a relationship with you through the recruitment process, whether they're a client or a candidate. So voice your opinion. Stop staying quiet, worried because someone might judge you. Okay, actually, you're going to attract people that share your opinions, or attract people that want to have healthy debate with you on this. And if you're worried about people calling you out in the comments, just remember that you're sharing your opinion. Your opinion can't be wrong. And those comments drive the algorithm. So actually, we want them. We welcome them. And as long as, I always use the phrase, as long as you keep your side of the street clean, so that means don't get caught up in it, don't start, remain kind, all that kind of thing, you can just keep driving the conversation in the comments. But it's really important we are sharing our opinions. Like I said, everything is content. So content as well happens when you're engaging in other people's conversations. Maybe there isn't anything for you to post today. Go through your feed, go and look at the people on your hit list, go and look at what they're sharing on LinkedIn and add some comments underneath. There seems to be, the last couple of weeks, there seems to be so much good news on LinkedIn. And I'm talking about LinkedIn a lot, but this is across all platforms. But LinkedIn at the minute, there just seems to be whether it's people moving from one position to another, people winning awards, celebrating different initiatives in their business, whether it's to do with EDI or sustainability, or creating some sort of training plan that's being implemented in the business. There's loads of good news stories out there at the minute. So get involved in the comments. Say, this is fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. This is amazing because... and give your opinion. Fantastic to see so many of the leading businesses in our sector doing initiatives like this. It's so important because it builds your employer brand in an exceptional way. Just offer your 2 pence, offer some opinion. And with that, think about your wins and celebrate those publicly. And remember, those wins can be as big or as small as you want them to be. It's all about how you position them. It's about how you use them. It could be your big win is that you never get away from the office and today you went on a walk for 45 minutes to clear your head. There's a post in that about how, you're really busy, you're really focused on your client work, but as we all know, it's so important to get away from the desk from a mindset perspective, to clear things out, to be able to come back energized, to make sure that you give every client your very, very best. Just something like that. And there's a photo of you whilst you're out on the walk, maybe. Okay, something like that. It's even better when you can do it as a video. It could be a placement that you've made. It could be something that someone in the team, that maybe someone's doing something with charity in the team and you're celebrating that. It could, maybe you're having a family get together, okay, and you're celebrating that. So just think, what are the wins that you're experiencing, and celebrate them publicly. Maybe the win is you finally got to the end of that book, right? And we're going to like, hurrah, we've got to the end of the book. It was a slog, but you're so glad you did it because you learned this from the book. And talk about how you might apply that to business. Okay, next thing is for you to share your blogs. And yes, you should be blogging. So once a month, ideally twice a month, but once a month is just enough, okay? And you can outsource to us. You can use ChatGPT to help you come up with ideas. One piece of content, long form content on your website every month is going to help you from an SEO perspective. But every article essentially feeds you with probably 5 or 6 social media posts. Okay, so make sure you're sharing your blogs as well. This is something you should be doing. Your blog is an asset, something you share publicly on your website, ticks the box for SEO. If someone's on the site, it gives them content to consume. It's something you can email out to people. It's something, you share it on social media, they click through, they read the article, and whilst they're on that article, you give them the opportunity to sign up to get regular updates from you. Okay, so again, this is a way to use social media to go from that awareness piece, the interest piece, so that you've got the data so that you can start to nurture them. And next, share your lead magnets. Remember that funnel I showed you earlier on? It's amazing, the blocks that I see in that funnel. Some people have no lead magnets. So they're sharing all this social media content, but they don't have a way to actually get data from people, to get leads. If we can't get the information, we can't identify who is or isn't a lead. So that blocks up the funnel. And then I've got other people where they've got a lead magnet and they just never tell anyone about it. So no one knows it's there for them to access, and therefore they've invested in this resource and it's not bringing them results because no one knows it's there. So really think about that, the resource that you've got, share your lead magnets. And it could be some sort of PDF. You could call it a blueprint, a checklist, a guide, whatever. It could be webinars that you do. It could be quizzes, tests, things like that. There are, if any of you ever thought about writing a book, it could be the first chapter of a book. A lead magnet could be a free call. You describe it as a power call or a CV call or whatever it might be. But have something that's a valuable resource and make sure that you shout about it. Post the fun stuff, the stuff that is the other part of you. Okay, so yes, people are going to know you as a recruiter, but how about I want people to know who Christina is. We want to know who Angela is. We want to know who Catherine is. We want to know who Rebecca is. We want to know who John is as people, because we're going to create a relationship with that person. So post the fun stuff too. Post what you're doing on your downtime. If you're a massive animal lover and you've got, I think it's Charlotte, isn't it? She's got, or at least she had, 12 cats or whatever it was.
It's 11 cats at the moment, yeah.
11 cats and a baby. But, we start to know Charlotte. When I think of Charlotte, I think of, she's more memorable to me because I know I've got this information about her. I know she's got the baby. I know she's got the 11 cats. She's a person to me, not just a connection, not just a follower. So posting the fun stuff, I always say I'm a cattle farmer's daughter. Every now and then when I'm at my parents' place and I'm helping out feeding the cattle, or if the cattle have escaped like they did at the bank holiday weekend, I might shoot a little video, who knows. But then people start to remember that about you as well. They know that you're they know you love going, like Kate O'Neill. We all know she loves the gym. and she does the high rock stuff, it gives us something else to talk to her about. We know her at a different level. So post the fun stuff too. People, forget about the Facebook police. Oh, LinkedIn's turning into Facebook. No, 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 no. That's up to them. If they want to be miserable buggers, let them. Okay. Why don't worry about them. You focus on building the real relationships with the people you're connected with there. And that brings me to the last point. Tell your stories. Okay. I told you my story at the beginning. That's my professional story. Many of you, even though you've known me for years and years and years, you probably haven't heard me tell my actual story. Okay. It's not something I do on social media too often. I do it when I'm on some stages, but there's different elements of my story I tell at different times. I tell stories of my clients. There are so many ways for you to be able to tell stories. If you're trying to communicate a point, you can use a storytelling framework. And to be honest, you telling your stories, they're the things that really make you come alive on another level. So what stories are happening in your business right now? What's the story that got you to where you are today? What's the story that led you into recruitment? There's a story about me being made redundant, being desperate, figuring, okay, I've got no education, I'll go to university, hating it and dropping out, and the way I felt about that. That in itself is a story. It's Mental Health Awareness Week. I could do a video about that story and talk about the help and support that I needed at the point I dropped out, because I'd got a spinal injury at the time as well. I was in a huge amount of physical pain, which affected my mental health. At that point, I didn't ask for help. It was years later, to be honest, before everything got resolved. There is a story in that I could tell. And I could talk about, we can bring it round. I can bring round to marketing. So maybe maybe you are a runner and there's a reason why you're a runner, and you tell that story. Maybe there is a candidate. Maybe you help a specific type of candidate and that's the work you love doing the most. Maybe there's an element of recruitment that's the bit that excites you the most. Getting that good news story, being able to tell a candidate that they've got the placement. Maybe that's the bit you love the most, and there's a particular reason why, and you can tell that story. The storytelling framework is basically hell, heaven, how. Things were really crap. Then they were amazing, and this is how we got there. Yeah, I had the privilege of calling a candidate yesterday morning. This candidate, when I first met them, they were on their knees. They'd been made redundant. They had a family to look after, mortgage, elderly parents that they were also responsible for caring for. And essentially, them being made redundant was creating a massive, massive, massive issue for them financially. As a recruiter, when we're talking to candidates in this situation, you get to learn so much about who they are as individuals. And it's heartbreaking at times when you hear the stories and you hear the stress that they're under. And sometimes you become a bit of a lifeline to these people. Well, this one individual, I got to call them yesterday morning to tell them that they'd got the job. Now, when I broke the news, they just screamed. They were so elated. And they called me back again yesterday evening, telling me about just like once they'd had a chance to process the news, just how all that relief had just gotten rid of all that stress for them. They're so excited about this role. And this role is perfect for them because they were kind of stuck in that old job. And this new opportunity for them really is an opportunity. They're going to get to use skills that they never thought they would be able to get to use. And do you know what? Do you know how we were able to get that individual that win? It was because we took the time to really get to know them. We made sure that when we put them forward to a company that had things in place that supported their values, had things in place that considered how to really make someone feel included in a business, that really invested in their people. Now, we're able to do that because the clients we work with, we're selective. We make sure that we only work with the very best clients in the industry so that we know the candidates that we support have the best possible opportunities going forward. Hell, heaven, how. Now, obviously, I made that up on the spot. Okay, but if you told me a situation, I would be able to use that framework and tell that story. And you can use that framework and tell a story in 20 seconds, 2 minutes, or 2 hours even. It's up to you how much depth you want to go into. The more you do it, the more you use that framework, 3 steps, that's all it is: hell, heaven, how. The more comfortable you get with it, and the more you're able to use the pauses and use the tonality in your voice and not worry about the camera and all that kind of thing. But you can use that in written copy as well. It doesn't just have to be on video. It just works really well on video, and then you don't have to be too scripted. But please, please, please use your social media presence to tell your stories. What's the biggest story in your business so far this week? What's the big, what is the story? It could be the story of you've had an opportunity come in, and actually it's the story of that business that you're working with that you're able to tell using that framework. Okay, so make sure you tell your stories. So that's the 10 ways you can look at things and start to see that everything around you is content. You don't necessarily need to sit down for 2 hours every week to plan your content and write a load of posts. You just need to be open to this. When you're looking at the diary for the day, or you're doing your planning for the week ahead, and you look at the diary then and you go, oh, actually, like I'm in Marble Arch on Wednesday. I can grab a photo there as I come out the tube station. Okay, things like that. You can, when you are going through something, when you're talking to a candidate, you go, oh my God, that's such a fantastic story. Get it posted. Tell it. Absolutely tell it. Now, the next thing for us to think about, of course, is actually how to post. Okay, so we've got so many posting options across all the platforms. Instagram, you can do stories, you can do reels, you can do whatever it might be. Okay. Sorry, I've just seen Angela. You said what's does boss? Have I got a typo in there somewhere, or have I said something?
It's not you. It's a comment from Anthony saying yes, 10 out of 10. Christina and Angela #DOS boss. And so whether that's 2 bosses bossing it is what I'm guessing, but I am asking.
Okay.
It's in being Spanish. It is. It's DOS. It's two bosses. Love it.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay. So. Yes, social media platforms give us lots of different ways of posting. Now, on Instagram, we can do stories, we can do reels, you can do a grid post, you can do carousel, so many different options. I'm going to focus this on LinkedIn because we have a bunch of different options now, okay? And we need to understand when to use what option and what the benefit of the options are. Now, I could do, and I almost did, do this whole session dedicated to just this one slide, but actually we need to get you posting before we start thinking about what the posting options are. Okay, but I just wanted to give you this at a very top level. So text only posts, you can do these occasionally. There's nothing wrong with a text only post. They don't stand out in feed the way that more visual things do, but to do them every once in a while, nothing wrong with that. Use them for long form storytelling. So if you know you're going to be like 3-4 paragraphs, a text only post is probably the best way of doing that. And the benefit is it offers detail to the reader. Next, text and a link. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, but the algorithm doesn't like links and blah, 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 blah. If you don't post a link, then you're not going to get traffic, which is the benefit, to that page. And on that page, they're likely to share information with you. Okay. So text and links, there's nothing wrong with posting them. And if you're thinking, well, I'll put the link in the first comment because I've seen that, or I'll go in and edit the post later and put the link in the copy of the post. No one's got time for that. No one's got time for it. So if you're going to do it, post it as a text and link, or just put the link in the copy straight away. Okay, so it's just done. We use these types of posts when we're referencing a piece of content that's off platform. So maybe there was trying to think of an example from the last couple of weeks. There was an article that was all to do with employee engagement and therefore linked to employer branding. And I think it was on like HR Today or Personnel Today, whatever it was. So we used that link, and for the client, we wrote a response to the article And actually, these types of articles, when they're things like The Guardian, the BBC, HR Today, all that kind of, people quite often don't actually click through on the article, but they will read what you've said. So write a response to that article. That's what those posts are for. I found something, here's my opinion to go with it. Remember what I said? Share your opinions. So that's the time to use those types of posts. Or if you're promoting your lead magnet, okay, a bit of text explaining why people should engage with it and the link for them to click through and engage in it. Next, text and image. Really good for sharing sort of short stories, short opinions, and this advice, guidance. It stands out in feed. You want to keep your text probably, think like a paragraph and a half. No, like 2 paragraphs is almost a little bit too long. Okay, you want shorter text when you're using text and an image. And this really is about standing out in feed. Bold text, bright colours work really, really well. Your face, okay? The whites of your eyes, that's what people want to see. Smiling faces, remember to say cheese. That's what stands out in feed, especially on LinkedIn. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that. And that's probably going to be the most regular post that you guys share. Text and video, again, if we can see you, we can hear you, we start to, the inflections in your voice, your tonality, we can hear when you're excited, we can hear when you're passionate, we can hear when you're we can hear your expertise. Text and video is so powerful when it comes to actually positioning you as an expert. It's not just words we've written, because let's face it, we can go to ChatGPT and get something written for us. Doesn't mean we know it. But actually, like you listening to me now, I would hope your part of this communication is that you're feeling trust in the fact that I know what I'm talking about because of the way that I'm talking. So video, really powerful for positioning you. That's the big benefit there. And it's just an easy way to share information, really easy way to tell stories as well. Like I said, people get to know you at a different level. The downside of it is that you end up in a public place and someone comes up and says hi, like they know you, like they're related to you, know you, and you're thinking, who the hell is that? And when that happens, you've never got makeup on, girls. Guys, you probably need a haircut. You're always in your scruffs. It never happens when you are pristine. I found that. Anyway, the next option is polls. Polls on LinkedIn, really good way for you to get insight from your connections, gain their opinions on things, temperature check things, that sort of stuff. And it drives engagement. It's a really easy way for people to engage with you. You might put a poll out this week, and based off those results, that becomes the content. I did a poll last week asking this question. It was really interesting because 63% of the people that had however many responses, and 63% thought this was the most important thing. That's really interesting because it correlates with the trend I'm seeing at the minute with the clients I'm working with, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So polls can work really, really nicely. Don't overdo them. I'd say one about every 10 days, 2 weeks or so. Like if you're doing a poll every other day, people just get tired of it. Make your polls meaningful as well. If it's a poll saying, red sauce or brown sauce on a bacon sarnie, LinkedIn is going to downvote that because it can tell it doesn't have value. So think about the content of your polls as well. And then you've got the option of articles and newsletters. So if you've got a lot of information to share, you can use those. Good thing about them is that people will get notified, which means you've got people returning to you to get information from you. Newsletters, I would say once a month. And, make sure if you are going to use articles and newsletters, make sure it is really valuable what you're sharing. The articles, ideally, they'd already be on your website as blogs. So maybe if you are blogging, if you're blogging twice a month, then maybe you're going to do an article once a month or a newsletter once a month that is almost like an intro to each of those articles with the opportunity for people to click through to them. If you are going to use these, make sure that there is something in them that brings people back to you directly so that you can gather that data. Okay. Fab. Okay. And the last one is documents and carousels. So people call them carousels. These, they're like PDF slides and you can kind of click through them. They're really good if you've got a lot of information that you want to break down into key points. So, like I said, repurposing your blogs into content. You've written a blog on 5 trends we're seeing in construction recruitment, and you've got 1,000-word article explaining what those 5 trends are. You can now create a PDF in Canva's, really, really simple, and you kind of have a title slide. Slide 1 is point 1, slide 2 is point 2, etc., etc. And the final slide is, to read more on this, go and see the blog. Okay, people can flick through that and get a breakdown of the information really, really quickly. So it's engagement, and it also communicates clarity as well on something that's more complex. So they can work really, really nicely. It's important that we do a mix of this stuff. We don't just get into the habit of every post we do is text and image, text and image, text and image. You want to mix things up a bit. Okay, so if you're going to commit, I'm going to do a poll every 2 weeks. On the 1st and the 15th of the month, I'm going to do a poll. Maybe that's part of your plan. Absolutely cool. Okay, so the day-to-day posting, just be mindful. Actually, do you know what? I've been doing a lot of images recently. Let me do a video. So just think about what you're doing, and make sure that you're mixing things up. The algorithm, it's not that the algorithm likes a particular type of post more than the others. LinkedIn likes profiles that are sharing a mix of this stuff. So make sure you're sharing a mix of it. And when you're doing a mix, you'll start to see actually what do people engage with the most. Actually, every time I do a photo, even if whether it's got a link with it or not, if it's a photo of me, I'm getting loads of engagement. Okay, I need to do more of that. Maybe you'll get some professional photos done so that you can use those, and you've got them in Canva ready to go. So you can start to invest in the bits that are working for you and doing more of that stuff. With all of this, and I've talked about, the whites of your eyes, your face, people getting to know you. It's so important that you are just you. Be raw, be natural, be authentic, be you. Don't try to be someone that you're not. You want it to be a case of, someone that's followed you for a while, someone that's been connected with you for ages. They go, oh, do you know what? What I love about you is that you're exactly the same in person as you are online. That's what we're trying to achieve. Because that way we will attract people that want to work with us and will remain loyal with us. Have you ever sort of met someone and you've seen them online, you think, oh my God, they're amazing, and you meet them in person and it's like, oh, what a letdown. What a letdown. Because they're just completely different individuals, okay? You don't want to fall into that trap. A fantastic mentor of mine once said to me, if you're in a room full of people and you're stood at the front, 20% will love you, 20% will hate you, and the rest just don't care. So just focus on the 20% that love you, because they're the ones you're going to end up doing business with. So, like I said, just be you. Don't try and be anyone else, and just go for it. And once you've gone for it, once you're implementing, we need to make sure that we're measuring success. Don't get carried away measuring all the detail of everything. Measure what matters. Am I getting engagement on these posts? Am I getting comments? Okay. Am I getting people downloading my lead magnet or joining the webinar, whatever it might be? Okay. Am I in a situation where I'm able to identify leads right now? How many leads am I getting? What is it that's bringing these leads to me? And then you can start to adjust your strategy using data-backed decisions. Reading the data and going, whoa, well, I had 1,022,500 impressions on this. The impressions don't mean anything. Okay, brilliant. Your post was in the feed loads and loads of times, but if hardly anyone liked it and hardly anyone commented, it doesn't really matter. You might have a post that only gets 350 impressions, but you've got 25 comments on that, and they're really good conversation. And now that individual you're on a call with, and there's an opportunity there for you. That's a way more powerful post. And I would be wanting to do more of that than the other. Okay. So, like I said, measure success and adjust based on data-backed decisions. But most importantly, what I need you to do with the information that I've shared with you today, And it's something I say all the time is I just need you to show up online. I need you to show up, and I need you to back you. Any worries, any fears that you've got, just cast them aside, feel the fear and do it anyway. Show up, do the posts. Don't hide thinking I'm just going to go and plan and plan and plan and plan and never get anything out there. Don't write it and overthink it. Just do it. Okay. Show up, back you. And that's it. From there, implement the work, connect with me. And yeah, we're all good. Angela, how was that?
That was amazing. And you finished with one of my favourite books as well. I think it's Susan Jeffries, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, that quote. So I'll get the link for that as well, because it's one of those things, we hear it so many times, don't we? People say, oh, it's just not for me. Oh, I don't want to put myself out there. But Kim is a great example of this.
Amazing. I mean, Kim is so Kim Grocott, the team here at Green Umbrella, she's just a powerhouse. She's an absolute powerhouse. She's absolutely owned who she is. She's fearless about what she posts. However, she has her boundaries as well. And I think this is an important thing. Have boundaries. You know, I'm saying share the fun stuff, share your life outside of recruitment, but absolutely, yes, have your boundaries. Know what your boundaries are and work within those. And, you know, like I said, Kim is, she's just, and the more she shared her story, the more of her story she's sharing. And it is the reason I'm struggling for words is I feel very privileged I'm very privileged to have someone in my team that is doing what she's doing. She's just, she's special.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I must admit, yes, that she and her following and her social media has just grown so much that we've seen over these last sort of 4 to 6 months. So go for it, Kim. I know that you were over on LinkedIn there. Keep doing what you're doing. We love it. And we've been given permission now to share ourselves and to do that. And we know that it works. And thank goodness for that as well. People can just be who they are. You do you, as it were.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Yeah, unfortunately, that's our time up. But if you've got one more thing to say, I'll let you have the last word.
No, I was going to say I had a breakthrough with a client actually that bank holiday weekend they're involved in a grassroots football team. They coach like 8-year-olds football, and I've been like, what's going on? And they've got nothing for us content wise. What's happening in your diary? Oh, nothing. I was like, right, what are you doing this bank holiday? Oh, well, I'm away at Butlins because I'm coaching this team. Fantastic, brilliant piece of content. Have you got photos? And they're like, what? And we did this post and we just talked about being a leader in business and giving back and being an inspiration. And he's an inspiration to these kids and take them under his arm in the same way that business leaders are inspirations to their teams and take them under their arms. It was really easy to bridge it across. And he got a lead out of that piece of content. He was absolutely amazed. And then over the bank holiday weekend, he shared some photos himself on LinkedIn and just got even more from it. And he was like, oh my God. And I said, this is the thing, this works. And all that engagement now, when we then post the next boring salesy post, because more people are engaged with you, more people are going to see that. So it is own up to who you are and share that.
Thank you so much. Number 1 and number 42. Take 2 slots on there. Wonderful. Christina's links there in the chat and obviously over on LinkedIn as the speaker. So please do get in touch with her and share this video with people that need to see it. Because if someone's struggling, say, oh, I just can't do it, or I'm not getting out there, then here you go. here's everything that you need to be able to get started. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. See you at the team conference. Only a couple of weeks now.
See you soon. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.